Hey, what's up, guys? Nick here. Wanted to share a comment from one of my students who shared this in our public Facebook group. This is from Jessica, and it is one of the realest descriptions of the business that I've seen recently. And so I wanted to share it with you because if you've seen my other videos, hopefully you have got the impression that I try to keep it real and straightforward with you guys as much as possible, because that's just how I am. And that's also the type of people that I like to align myself with. So Jessica is a realist, clearly, at least when it comes to describing this business and how it really is. So let me read what she says about the overage surplus funds recovery business. So she says, quote, a couple weeks ago, I realized I had officially hit the 1-year mark since I started contacting clients for my surplus business. When I took this course in October 2020, I had no idea what I was getting into or if I would even stick with it. By November, I was ready to quit, and by December became motivated again and started calling clients in January. I have no regrets about doing this overage business, and I will do it until the wheels fall off or until I get sick and tired of it. During 2021, I contracted 34 clients. 15 of those cases fell through and could not be completed. Closed 9 of those cases and still have 13 active cases that are still in process. There were many months where I didn't get a single check, and some months we got multiple checks. I was seeing regular checks since about August 2021, which came to a stop, and there were no checks that came from December or January 2022. This business has highs and lows, and thankfully I have other sources of income to carry me during the months when a case is taking longer than expected to close. I recovered over $225,000 for clients in 2021. I'd love to double that number in 2022, so we'll see. I truly hope and wish everyone success in this business because it can be life-changing, but you got to stick with it. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to highlight a few points here. But before we do that, I was curious I wanted to know how many hours Jessica was putting in a week. Okay. So I asked her that down below in the comments down here. So I just said, how many hours a week would you say you're dedicating to the business? This was her response. I was working only a few hours a day, maybe 2 to 3 hours a day, Monday through Friday. And I did try to work weekends for a few months and then cut that out fast. And there was a period where I took a break from doing anything on overages for about 6 weeks in the spring. My assistant does most of the skip tracing for me. My biggest goal for 2022 is to work the business, but not work in the business as much. I've been trying to expand, so my team is getting bigger and my time becoming more limited, and I'm becoming more mindful of where I place my time and who to entrust these responsibilities to. There are so many moving parts to this business, so it hasn't been so simple to just hand it over to someone. Finding a quality CRM and building the best team has been my biggest focus for 2022. So that's what Jessica had to say about the business. A couple things I want to highlight. So she doesn't say how much she netted or took home, but she does say that in 2021, she recovered $225,000, which is pretty awesome. Okay. Now the question is, okay, well, what was the take home? Well, let's just say her average commission was 25%. My average is 30. Maybe hers is less or more. I don't know. So let's just split it down the middle and call it 25. So if her average commission was 25, then her net would be around $56,000 for 2021. And she said she's putting 2 to 3 hours a day, Monday through Friday. So that means 10 to 15 hours a week is what she's dedicating to this business. So here's a question for anyone that's researching this business and possibly considering getting involved. Would an extra 50 grand in income per year, is that worth you dedicating 10 to 15 hours a week or 2 to 3 hours a day for an extra 50 grand a year? Now, there may be some of you that you work 40 hours to make 50 grand. I was in that boat. Shoot, I work 40 hours a week to make 40 grand. So it just depends where your situation is at, right? It's like, okay, is that worth your time? Is an extra $50,000 every year for as long as you want, as long as you continue to work it, worth spending 10 to 15 hours of your time per week? If the answer is no, then maybe this business is not for you. If the answer is yes, maybe this business is for you. Only you can decide that. But I just wanted to highlight that is this doesn't have to be a full-time venture in order for you to make a full-time income. Okay. 56,000 may not seem like a lot, but if you're only putting in 15 hours a week, that's actually pretty good. I think the average salary in the US is around 60. Okay. But that's putting in full-time hours. But here's the thing, guys. Look, she highlighted some things that are very important for you to understand. This is one of the major cons of entrepreneurship, and specifically this business. It has highs and lows. Okay. She said herself that there were months she didn't get a single check, and other months she got multiple checks. And that has been my experience as well. And so here's another question you should ask yourself. Can you handle that, the ups and downs? Can you deal with that uncertainty? Because that is one of the best things about a 9-to-5, right? Is as long as you show up, you know you're going to get a check every 2 weeks. You have no idea when you're going to get a check in the overage business. You have no clue. You can guess, but ultimately you do not know when that check is going to arrive. You don't. And that, if you're okay with that, great. If you're not okay with that, perhaps this business is not for you. Okay. You have to be, if this is your only source of income, you just have to be very good at managing your cash flow. Or, if you're just doing this part-time and you've got maybe another full-time gig or, other streams of income, great. This can be an additional income stream. It just has to match your situation, right? And what you want. So that's very real. The other thing is, she mentions that, she started in October 2020. By November, she was ready to quit. And then December, she became motivated again. So not only are there ups and downs in the income, there is also ups and downs in, I would say, your love of the business. Perhaps, I guess you could also call it motivation. That is also very, very real, guys. And here's one thing I can guarantee you. I guarantee you that if you go down this path of this business, you will at some point in time want to quit. In fact, you will face multiple situations where you want to quit. Okay. How do I know this? Because I still have days where I'm just like, I want to not be involved in overages anymore. Sometimes I just have days where I'm just like, maybe we have a bad client, or sometimes I'm dealing with something that I don't want to deal with anymore. That comes with the territory. And there are some days where I want to quit the business and just retire and be like, throw my hands up in the air and say, I'm going to go do something else completely unrelated. I have those days, guys, to this, and I'm more than 7 years into this. Okay. So that's normal. But here's the difference between those that see success in this business or any business and those that do not. Is those that do not, they listen to that voice that tells them to quit, and they do quit, and they go jump into something else. The shiny object syndrome. They are constantly looking into new opportunities, new courses, new programs, and none of them work for them because they don't stick with one for enough time to actually see results. Because as soon as it gets hard, they move on to something else. Those students of mine that do see results, like Jessica, when that voice tells them to quit, they keep moving forward. They do not listen to that voice. They ignore it, and they move on with the work that needs to be done. And they don't jump from thing to thing to thing, trying to find the magic easy button, because that button doesn't exist. Okay. But I will guarantee you that you will have multiple points in your career if you jump into this business where you will want to quit. The success, whether you obtain it or not, depends on what you do when that voice tells you to quit or not. Okay. Business is very hard. Any business is hard. Like, there are days, guys, where there are days where sometimes it's like, a 9 to 5 doesn't sound too bad right now. For real talk. There are some days where it's like, man, maybe I should go back and get a job. There's a lot of things that you don't have to deal with as an employee that you do have to deal with as an entrepreneur. Okay. Just because you're an entrepreneur doesn't mean everything is glamorous and rosy. Okay. There's a lot of crap you got to deal with when you own your own business. So anyway, that's it, guys. I wanted to share Jessica's thoughts because they are real and they mirror my experience as well. The ups and downs, the wanting to quit. But also, the business is a high payoff business. You can generate a good income by not necessarily having to dedicate 40, 50, 60 hours a week. I'm sure there's a lot of people in this country that would love to take home 50 or 60K and only work 10 to 15 hours a week. So anyway, I hope you learned something from this, and hopefully this saved some of you time. Maybe some of you after watching this are like, this business ain't for me. And if so, awesome. I'm glad that we were able to help save you some time from continuing to research and look into this niche. And maybe for those of you that after watching this, you're still interested, great, cool. Links down below, you can get access to the same training that Jessica did. It's all good. Ultimately, you have to decide, if it can help you reach your goal, whatever that is. Okay. So pretty awesome. One thing I'm actually just curious as I look at this again, I'm wondering, she said she closed 9 cases. She recovered 225. Okay, so she's averaging about 25,000 per per recovery. So that's awesome. That's very cool. Anyway, that was just for my G Whiz. All right. Any questions you have, guys, post them down below in the comments. Hope you learned something from this video. Hope it was helpful. Here's the name of our group. If you want to join it, it's free. Those of you that are in the course, make sure you're in the private group as well. Okay. The link for that is in the FAQ section. And yeah, I hope that helps you guys. Again, I try to keep it real with you, and I appreciate Jessica for keeping it real as well. And you know, just know, guys, that, you know, I couldn't have said it any better. You got to stick with it. One last comment I'll make: those that are successful versus those that aren't is the consistency. Okay, is they are consistent in their efforts. So even if you can only do 1-2 hours a day, but if you can be consistent and not have ups and downs in your work, that will help determine your level of success. Is how consistent are you? Because your actions on a daily basis begin to compound later down the road. And what happens is the results that you get 3, 4, 5, 6 months from now are going to be generated by the actions that you take today, tomorrow, the day after that, so on and so forth. So consistency, that is one of the major key factors that will help bring success to you in this business, or any in that for that matter, is consistency in doing the right thing, okay, within the business. All right, guys, that's all I have for you. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you in the next one.